The Raiders head coach and general manager have been fired. We've lost Kirk Cousins for the season. And the Fanatically Real Redraft playoff picture is taking shape. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. I saw 3 people on, and now I see 2 people on. So if you're out there tonight, please leave us a message so we can say hey to you and have some interaction on the show tonight. MJ says, what's up, Kamish? What's going on, MJ? How are you? Thank you for the talk earlier today. I appreciate you. And have you gone out and looked at the TikTok numbers lately? You probably should. I'll talk about that in a second, just because I'm kind of actually excited about it. It has nothing really to do with the fantasy football, just that some of you know that we've been doing the TikTok thing for a little bit, and we took a nice long break while we were in Ohio taking care of some stuff, and then we kind of came back online, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But anyways, here's what's on the agenda for tonight's show. So we're going to talk about the NFL news. We kind of mentioned at the start of the show a little bit about what we've got on that for this week. We're going to talk about the redraft games of the week by each one of the regions, and then go over the standings. We're going to look at the power rankings for the redraft, top 25. And then we're going to talk about the upcoming game of the week. And then we're going to talk about the games of the week in the APFL. We're going to start with the NFC this time because there's 2 great games there. We're going to look at the APFL power rankings, the top 10 that's there, and then its upcoming game of the week. And then we're going to talk about what next week's show looks like. Yeah, it's I don't know what the number is right now. I think I know what it was just before I went live, but to see that number, I think it's now my 3rd highest viewed post ever. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of potential there. If we could cash in on it a little bit more, a lot of potential there. All right, so NFL news. So said at the top of the show, Las Vegas has fired their head coach Josh McDaniels and their general manager David Ziegler. The Raiders have named their linebackers coach as the interim head coach. And then Champ Kelly, who is the team's assistant general manager right now and currently in his 2nd year in that position, is going to be the interim general manager. And then also we mentioned that Kirk Cousins has been lost for the year. Sean on with us. What's up, brother? Thank you for the assist today. Make sure you pay attention to the post tomorrow. And I know you always do because we see each other's stuff, but please pay attention to tomorrow's post. Again, thank you for the assist. Yeah, it's so funny. I didn't make the comment during the game the other night, but thought about it. I didn't want to be like negative Nancy when the game was going on, but he really needed to go. JB, what's up, man? How are you? Kevin is there too. Hey, Kev, how are you? And I might have even said something about how bad the play calling was or something like that. I don't know if I said he needed to go. Maybe I did say he needed to go. And there it was. It was actually Damien that broke the news on Discord today saying, well, we got our first firing of both the head coach and general manager. And I hadn't even heard yet, so I had to ask him who it was. So let's go back to the Kirk Cousins thing. So Kirk Cousins been placed on the season-ending IR because he tore his Achilles, very much like what Aaron Rodgers did at the beginning of the year. So interesting thing there about Kirk Cousins, though, is he's due to become a free agent at the end of this year as well, too. So I don't know what that looks like for him age-wise. I think this was his 12th season. What that looks like for him staying in Minnesota. I know the coach has showed support of keeping him there, but we know how that goes sometimes. But we shall see. All right, let's get into these redraft games of the week. And we've got a couple of them here for you. Let me shrink myself a little bit and we'll get up on here. So the 2nd most points in all of the redraft was scored in the Banshees region this week, and that's James Hargraves ended up beating Mike Catania. Final score there was 228 to 148. Again, James scoring the 2nd most points in all of the redraft this week. So you're going to see something a little bit different on the standings this week. You're going to see some colors added to it because we're starting to see the playoff picture develop a little bit more. As we just finished week 8 of us for the regular season, and we have only 11 weeks in the regular season before we get into this crazy playoff system that we do, right? Oh, I appreciate that. You didn't really miss me, but thanks. I appreciate you saying that. So as you can see, they got different colors on there. The OVC, the Ohio Valley Coffee Espresso Men, are locked in for a playoff spot at 8-0. And remember, you make the big playoffs by finishing 500 or above. In this case, because we have an odd number of games, that means you have to finish 6-5 or better to make the playoffs. So if you've already got 6 losses like the Koalas and Mike Catania have, you are out of the big playoff. But don't forget, everybody who doesn't make that top 500% gets to go play in what we're calling the Grey Cup this year, thanks to all of our Canadian friends that have come over and played in a league with us. And we're going to do the Grey Cup. So very much like how we're going to do the money side of the house, where it's above 500, everybody below 500 gets a chance to play in a very similar style playoff where everybody gets a chance to go. And then it'll be a different breakdown of the ladders in each region based on the number of teams that go. So as you can see right now, if we're saying 500 and above, even though we know it's going to be an odd number of games at the end, just looking at where we're at in week 8, there will be 6 teams from the Banshees region right now. If we were to do the playoffs today, that would go, and then the other 6 would move on to the Grey Cup. Yeah, and it really has. And I know you mean flown by. And I will say it's very odd because we haven't done a show in a while. You know, it's been a couple of weeks because I've been up in Ohio. For me to see how much has changed over the last 4 weeks as well as I'm doing all of these updates today. It was just really crazy to see how much has changed. So let's move over to the Black Dragons region. So the margin of victory game of the week in the Black Dragons region took place between the Rum Runners and Jordan Sulcer. Rusty James, the general manager of the Rum Runners and also Hall of Fame member here for FSA, took the win 145-142. Got some color codes here for you in the Black Dragons region as well. E-Thugs already in because they got their 6 wins. We got 2 teams that have been dropped, the Dragons and the Bacchanalias. Both of them have 6 or more losses, so they will be playing in the Grey Cup. In the Gold Dragons region, imagine being the second highest scoring team in your region and having to play the number 1 scorer in all of the redraft in all 6 regions for week 8. New York Jackets get this win over the Warbirds. Final score there was 249-215. And the standings here, pretty crazy. This is the most clinches and the most losses I think we have in all of the regions right now. So the Jackets, the Who Daddies, and the Land Sharks are all in guaranteed. And Lumiere, Victor Jones Jr., and Chris Allen all in the Grey Cup as of right now. Let me back up real quick to the Black Dragons since we mentioned this in the Banshees. If we were to go to the playoffs today, 9 teams would go from the Black Dragons region, and we don't even have a bracket set up for 9 teams yet. So hopefully that will get reduced down to at least 8. And then in the Gold Dragons side of the house, we have 8 that would go to the playoffs if we were to go right now with teams that are 500 or above. In the Hydras region, the loss by the Sin City Kitties to the Ohio River Monsters has caused her to be the first casualty from the Hydras playoffs. So she will be, you'll see her in just a second, a different color. Final score there was 193-173. So she is the first casualty of this group, having 6 losses now. So she will be playing in the Grey Cup. But the Mantis Mayhem is having a great season right now. He sits atop of the Hydras leaderboard at 7-1. In the Scorpions region, margin of victory game for the Scorpions took place between the Virginia Blackbeards and the Rock and Rollers. Blackbeards took that win 175-163. Let me back up. Well, you know what? Let's talk the Scorpions, then we'll back up to the Hydras in just a second. Callis Cowboys, the only team officially eliminated. And nobody has clinched yet in the Scorpions region, as even the Aviators, Brian Ware and Lucky Ass Ferg, if they lose the next 3 games, could go 5-6 and get eliminated as well. So nobody has clinched there yet. But if we were to go for the 500 and above, there would be 9 teams from the Scorpions going right now. And let's back up to the Hydras region and talk about that one. There would be 7 teams that would go from the Hydras region. And then we've got 2 games to highlight here in the Lynx region. So the Maniacs was the 3rd highest scoring team in all of the redraft this week. He knocked off Laura with a final score of 224 to 141. And then the win by Wotan, the 185 to 136 win over Steege, knocked Chris out of the main playoff bracket as well. He is the first casualty over there in the Lynx region with the Louisville Sluggers, having locked in a playoff spot. And if we were to go to the playoffs today in the Lynx region, we would take the top 7 teams that you see there. Let's move on to the power rankings. Before I do that, I'm going to go back over to the comments because I want to say something to MJ. Hopefully she's still out there watching. I know that I left after week 4, and there was a lot of people that made the top 25 for the first time and basically just wanted to see their name in lights more than anything. And I know you waited 4 weeks to see this, MJ, but you have come back around, and you are actually in the top 25, sitting there at number 24. So the Southern Sirens logo makes it onto the big board. We haven't done this in a while because we've been gone for 4 weeks. So rather than talking about the shifting of the teams and who's on the list and who fell off the list, we'll have you all just look at it for a second. The Espresso Men being up there at the top, they were at the top whenever we left 4 weeks ago at the end of week 4. Mantis Mayhem has moved up to number 2. You can see the background colors again, in case you don't know why the background colors are different. The background colors represent each one of the different regions. That light green being the Banshees, the blue being the Hydras, the purple being the Black Dragons, the gold being the Gold Dragons, the red being the Scorpions, and that dark blue being the Lynx. So you can see where each one of the teams in the top 25 are coming from. So there is your top 25 as we get ready to head into week 9. Speaking of week 9, the game of the week, according to MFL, is coming to us out of the Gold Dragons region. It is going to be the number 6 ranked Who Daddies against the number 12 ranked Land Sharks. As of right now, the Who Daddies, and I'm saying that with 2 T's, just so you know, Daddies, is favored by 24 points. So yeah, you've fallen a bit. I know you were probably up there whenever when we left. The fact that you're still on the list should make you feel pretty good, especially since some of us have fallen off. So let's move on to the APFL games of the week. We're going to start in the NFC, like I said at the top of the show, because there are 2 amazing games of the week coming out of this conference. So the first one is between Carolina and Atlanta, that top game you see in the upper left-hand corner. The Power Claws got the narrow win. As you can see on there, it says 102 to 102, but the final score was 102.62 to 102.56, giving Carolina the 0.06 win. And then in the second game of the week in this conference, we had last year's champ, the Seattle Raptors, won his matchup against the LA Bighorns by 0.84 points. Final score there was 175.72 to 174.88. The Dogs, only undefeated team still left in the APFL. They get another win this week over the Cats. Final score there was 125 to 112. Really the only game to highlight, even though it was all in division games this week. Nothing else real close, and just had to highlight that one because now we're looking at the power rankings for the APFL, and you see the top 10. The Cleveland Dogs have been number 1 all year and have not relinquished that position at all. and they currently hold the lead by 1.598 points. Go over here and see what we got in the comments. My dude, happy to see you back. Some things haven't changed. Still over here winning. Missed the show. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for saying that you missed the show. Yeah, you are still over there kicking butt. Still the only team undefeated. I'm hearing rumors of Rookie of the Year possibly coming your way. Just rumors. Nothing solid yet because it still needs to be voted on. But I'm hearing some grumblings about that. So let's talk about the APFL game of the week coming up. So we are moving into our third cross-conference games this week. So we've already played 2 across conference. Now this will be our third one. In this case, we got the Cleveland Dogs. They're getting mentioned so much tonight already. They are playing the Arizona Redbirds. Cleveland is currently favored by 16 with the current lineups, and we will start those games tomorrow on Thursday night. See what these comments says over here. Beginner's luck award. I don't know, man. I don't know if I would say that. Monet says I didn't know you was ranked that high. Hey, and welcome back to the States, man, too. I think we're allowed to say that now that you are back in the States. I know sometimes we're not allowed to say that kind of stuff out loud, but welcome back. Sorry that you're in Texas again. At least it's not back at Fort Hood, but it's nice to have you back on this side of the pond again. All right, let's get this get me back on the screen, I guess. Let's see if we can figure out how to do this thing. It's been a while. You get out of practice by not doing it for a while. So this is normally the part of the show where we would do the primetime results because, yeah, I mean, at least it's not Hood. And then hopefully maybe we'll be able to get a chance to see you sometime soon. Yeah, he's doing really good this year. Love to see the new guys inside of FSA, especially one of the teams that we absorbed out of the Meathead League doing so well in the league right now too, especially with the changing of the rules for both leagues, honestly. So we haven't done primetime results in a while because we've been going away for 4 weeks. So it feels like we're almost starting over. And you know what? I forgot to grab something before the show started. Give me just a second. Even though we are starting over, sort of, we're not going to keep record from here on out. We'll just do the Thursday night thing like we normally do, whatever we do for the predictions and stuff like that. But let's talk about the primetime games for Week 9 in the NFL. So Thursday night, we've got Tennessee at Pittsburgh. When I first wrote the script for the Tonight Show, which was a little bit after lunchtime today, it said that Pittsburgh was favored by 3, which I thought was kind of surprising because they have the worst offense statistically, the 23rd ranked defensively. But just before I went live, I checked the line again, and it's changed to 2.5. But I feel like Will Levis, the quarterback for Tennessee, gave Titans kind of a little bit of a breath of fresh air last week. And I believe he's going to be the starter again this week. So all of that being said, and MJ, I know you're the Steelers fan out there. I have to apologize. Plus, I just like this hat. This Tennessee hat is so nice. That blue on blue looks really good with that sword logo on there. So I am picking Tennessee to win tomorrow night. And I am hoping that the weather stays cool enough, but not too cold, where I can actually sit on the back porch and watch the game, since we've had that TV out there for like 2 football seasons now, and I think I've only watched a game out there. Other primetime games that we need to talk about or make mention of, maybe not so much primetime, but we are back inside the International Series games again this week. This one we've got coming to you from Germany. Sunday morning, 9:30 East Coast time. We've got Miami and Kansas City playing. I'm not going to do the hat change thing. We'll just do that for Thursday. I'm not even going to say who I'm going to pick for that one. But we got Miami, Kansas City in Germany, 9:30 East Coast time. Sunday night football. I like this hat too, right? This is like one of the coolest hats I own. The only thing I don't like about it is this series or this model they did with these stripes on the side. Now, the stripes aren't what I have a problem with, and I actually think I have 2 more hats that are like this. It's that when they stitched this on there, they didn't stitch it quite right, so it makes the hat lopsided a little bit. It might not be easy to see on the screen, but I promise you, you know how I am with my hats. I'm a little bit of a hat snob, so I see the the deformity of it, and I'm like, it bothers me a little bit. I think I've got a Bengals hat that's like this, and I think I might have a Giants hat that's like this as well. It's got that stripe on the side. Sunday night football. I won't say it's a big game. It just is a game that has some significance historically wise, and I mean recent history. So we got Buffalo at Cincinnati on Sunday night, and y'all remember what happened during the Buffalo Cincinnati game last year. So we're hoping to not have anything like that happen again this year. But that's who plays Sunday night. Right now, if I was to pick a team, I'd say probably Buffalo. The reason I say that, just statistically, the offense and defense so much better than what Cincinnati's playing. Even though Cincinnati is definitely coming along, beat San Francisco, so they are starting to play a little bit better. But I'd have to give the nod to Buffalo. And then Monday Night Football, we got the Chargers at the Jets. I don't know how that game's going to turn out. I can't say that the Jets are playing great right now. They're not playing terrible ball, but Chargers are playing much better ball, so I'd probably give that to the Chargers. The bye teams this week. So we had no teams off last week. We've got 4 teams off this week. We've got Denver, Detroit, San Francisco, and Jacksonville. So if you have anybody on those 4 teams, I'll say them again: Denver, Detroit, San Francisco, Jacksonville. Make sure you don't put them in your starting lineup. Oh, yeah. The head shape thing. And yeah, that game last year tied for third to playoffs because of it. Yeah. So you tied Wotan in the playoffs because my players didn't finish that game. Yeah, and I don't think it was Matt's league because I don't remember where I got eliminated in the playoffs, or even if I even made the playoffs in his league. But it was my first year playing in Toby's league, the auction league that I'm actually doing quite well in this year, knock on wood, and I think this is real wood, because I'm 8-0 in that. But I say all of that, and I play Toby this week. And I actually think I was in the championship, and that game was going to decide first and second place. And I think the decision was we ended up splitting it. I think we added it and splitted it, if I remember right. I know last year was probably my best year money-wise. I think I won money in every league that I played in, which was nice. So maybe I did make the playoffs in Matt's. But yeah, that game really, from a fantasy standpoint, really screwed some things up. From real life perspective, it put some things in perspective. And I just hope that we have the game between Buffalo and Cincinnati on Sunday night without a hitch. That's what I'm hoping for. So that's it. I'm glad there are 8 of you out there tonight. I'm glad that a few of you have come on and said that you missed the show, because this next part's going to be hard for me to say. And it might not be the end all be all, but next week's broadcast, I'm going to have to do some serious soul searching of whether I'm going to do a broadcast the rest of this year. I looked back at the numbers after not doing it for 4 weeks, and we're just not picking up enough steam over on YouTube. And I really don't know. Maybe that's where my soul searching's got to come from, is I got to figure out how we can get the idea, or the fact that we have these broadcasts on Wednesday nights and that they're on YouTube, live, and then people can go out and watch them later. I need to figure out how to get that concept out in front of more people, because on average, we're maybe, after we get off the show tonight, there will be like 12 or 13 different views with 8 of you on there right now. And then after a week, we might get up to like 24 views. And I think the highest one that we've had this year outside of Dad's Memorial Show was like 31 or something like that. So the numbers just aren't justifying right now for me to continue to do this. We had some things that happened today, some comments that were made to me on the side on Discord that's got me rethinking how we need to approach a couple of things here at FSA. And maybe for me to figure out how to get people over here to YouTube, but definitely for me to focus on other things with regards to FSA. So this isn't me closing the doors. I don't want anybody to think that I'm not having that conversation again. This is just me thinking that maybe we could put our effort somewhere else instead of doing the show on Wednesday nights. I will say that I got started on doing the show this morning, to kind of give you a quick rundown of how it went today. I literally started working on the show at 9:30 this morning after I finished eating breakfast. I got all of the graphics done to include the top 25, which was the last graphic that I did, just about 12:15-ish. So just shy of 3 hours. Left the house, came back, and then I worked on the script from the time I picked the girls up from school. So probably from about 4 to about 5:45. So there's an hour and 45 minutes, and we're talking 2 hours and 45 minutes. So quick math tells me that's about 4.5 hours of work to do the show. And I'll get to you guys, the comments that you guys are sending in the background. I'll put you guys up on the screen here in a second, and I'll answer them just so you know that I'm not ignoring you. But I think the most important thing to all of you has seemed, especially when I was home, where are we at with the power rankings? Where are we at with the power rankings? And I really wanted to be able to get a show done, get some graphics done for you all, get the power rankings done for you all. Even if I was doing it, if you're still out there listening, even if I was doing it from my mom's basement, I wanted to be able to get a show out to you all. But my tech just wasn't going to work. My laptop, for some reason, it's old. It really is legitimately coming up on 8 years old. It wouldn't work Photoshop. It wouldn't work Excel. So even if I just wanted to do those things for you guys and even just post them on Discord, I couldn't get it to work. I didn't have, my 224s and my 65 up here and my good computer to be able to work with. And I will put this comment up there. Use the phone. So, you know what? I'll mention all of that when we talk about the TikTok thing here and say there's still 7 of you out there, and I appreciate you again for sticking around, the 7 of you that are out there. The big thing is what I can do, if let's say I don't do a show next week, right? Again, I'm not saying that I'm not doing a show. I'm just leaning more towards not doing a show than I am doing a show. But we'll see what next Wednesday looks like. But what I can do is I can still do the power rankings. Literally, that part of doing the show between the APFL and the redraft takes me roughly an hour, even with the graphic portion of it. And I can put both of those together and then post them in the appropriate channels on Discord. And one of the things that leads me to is we really need to make Discord a thing again. I feel like, and one of the comments that was made to me today, which has got me in this realm of thinking, is Discord just isn't being used enough. There's not enough interaction that's going on. One of the comments was, it feels like we're just in a best ball league right now. And I can feel that, through what they said to me in a text. I could feel that from them, and I get the same similar feelings as well. So we need to make Discord a thing again. I feel like that there are a couple of people that are going to fall off from each one of the leagues going into 2024. And because they have gotten quiet, it has caused some kind of like crickets and some other things. But let's make Discord a thing again, okay? It's been a weird 4 weeks with me being in Ohio, trying to take care of Dad's estate and stuff like that. But I'm back. I've got a couple of appointments this week to finish up the week, tomorrow and Friday. So it kind of takes me away from being here. But what I need to do is I need to be in front of the computer. I need to be interacting with you guys as much as I can. And let's see if we can't get the motivation back so we can do a show next Wednesday, because I do like doing this portion. It was one of the things that was also said to me in a text message, that this league is kind of over the top with that sort of thing. Like we do all of these graphics and we do this show and stuff like that. It really is an over the top league. I hope that when you're part of FSA, you're getting your money's worth when you're playing with us. So, just help me get back there again. Okay. Live on multiple platforms. So yes, you can, it just costs a little bit more money. So for those that don't know, because you don't see the StreamYard logos on the screen anymore, that means I have paid a yearly subscription membership to StreamYard to be able to see what you see right now. However, the level that I have allows us to stream to just one platform right now. The next level up, I think I can stream to 3. And we were streaming to Facebook as well and to YouTube. And then also, I think at the same time, there was another one that was connected to Twitter at one point that we were also going to. So we were hitting 3 platforms at once. But when my Facebook page got hacked, my personal page, and that account was the only account that was linked to the FSA business page on Facebook. We kind of lost the momentum there to do it on Facebook. And I feel like there are some people in this league that still do not use Facebook, and you have to have a Facebook account to watch the shows. But on YouTube, you don't need that. Anybody can watch on YouTube. So it's kind of where our thought process was to come to here. It needs to stay fanatically fun for me too, and it still is. It's just life has been really crazy since the end of August. And another comment that was said to me today, and I realize that it's crazy for everybody, not just me. Everybody, we don't know what everybody is going through at any given time in life, right? So we can't be judgmental of anybody. All I can say is, for me personally, it was really been crazy since the end of August, and that's kind of where I'm at headspace-wise with all of this stuff. I think MJ means flip a coin of whether we're going to do the show or not. I'll see if I can find one of my FSA coins around here and do it. So I appreciate that. That'd be great if we can get more people in, man. It really would be. And of course, with the APFL and a couple of people going away, I want you to know that that team is still very much got your name on it. So if you're looking to roll over into the APFL, it is still very much there for you. We aren't your basic fantasy football experience. And I appreciate you. Thank you guys for that. So I do appreciate that. And you know what? It means a lot to me, OVC, with you saying that, because you run a great league in your own right. It is a great league. I for those who don't know, I've done the draft selection show for you for 2 years, I believe now, and that's been a lot of fun. The fact that even somebody asked me to do that for them gave me a lot of joy. So I loved doing it. Even more so when we did it this year. We went from 12 teams last year to 14 teams this year. The challenge that was there for us to make 14 teams work this year was a lot of fun. I love doing innovative things and doing these techie things and being able to do that for you, and getting the videos of everybody that was in the shop saying thank you to me. That was all I needed. It was all the thanks that I needed for doing that. So for the use the phone thing, for those of you who don't know, Sean's new to the league this year. Sean is also the guy that I teamed up with during we did it during the Hall of Fame game, I think, this year, where we did some art on Midjourney and released on TikTok together, hoping that it would grow both of our platforms. And I don't know if we really got the response from it that we wanted right when we did it. It was a lot of fun to do it anyways. But anyways, I used these two 24-inch screens and a 65-inch screen, and I'm on my Midjourney, and I'm creating all of this art. And then I'm turning around and posting it on TikTok. And Sean's over there using just his phone on Discord with Midjourney doing this. And I don't know how he does it, because I'll lay in bed when I'm rolling through an idea that I've been working on at the computer, and I decide, it's just time to go to bed. And I'll take the phone with me and I'll start work on it. And it's tough. I don't know how he does it on his phone all the time like that. Yeah, that was a good time either way. It kind of got me in that thinking of what's the next thing to do? What's the next thing to do, right? So we're always trying to come up with what is the next thing to do. And I think you've actually got a feeler out there right now, like what's the next thing for you to do? So the next thing for us to do, as we were making our trip back from Ohio, I had this idea to do chess sets for whatever reason. I think it was because both my nephews were asking to play chess. While we were going through my dad's estate stuff, we found a couple of chess sets. My little one asked me to play chess as soon as I got back here to Georgia, and she's becoming quite well. In fact, she put me in check first in the game. Surprised the heck out of me. So I was like, let me just do this little goofy thing, and I'll do these NFL chess sets. Thank you. That's what I was about to say. I'm going to leave that there for a second and post it. So I did these little dinky chess sets, and it took me 6 days actually to put them all together, and I didn't want to release until I had them all together. So it was actually the first post that I had done in like 16, 17 days. And I did the first chess set, and it did okay. Both of them kind of did okay. So then that was 3 days ago, or 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I released the first chess set. The day after that, I released, which I guess would have been yesterday, I released the second chess set. And then today I released hats. So for those of you that are not following us on TikTok, but you have a TikTok account, go out and follow Fantasy Sports Alliance. And then Sean, throw your handle up on here as well. And I'll throw yours up on the screen so people can come find you as well. So anyways, I did the hats today. And I posted at 8 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock, I decided to check to see how the hats are doing. And they had gotten like 550 some views. So not great, but I wasn't getting great numbers on the chess sets either. Not great by what Sean and I are expecting nowadays when we do these things. I think at one chess set, which was the day one chess set, had like 5,000 views on it. The second chess set had like 8,000 views on it. And here my hats were at 500 and something. And I don't know what happened in that hour between 11 and noon, but I was just getting ready to get on the phone with my sister, and I check back, and I'm literally checking for the hats. But I look over the chess sets, and all of a sudden, day two's chess set was at 18,000. And then I would hit refresh, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And MJ just posted this. The second set of chess sets are at 152,000 now, which is my third most viewed post of all time. The only two that top that is when I did the Big Ten toys and the SEC toys, which are still out there. And they're sitting at 189 and 192,000. So please, I mean, it was a long story to just tell you, please go out and follow our TikTok. Tomorrow night's Thursday Night Football, Pittsburgh and Tennessee. They happen to be AFC teams. The hats that we posted this morning happen to be all NFC teams. They were all created by AI. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And then tomorrow, it's two AFC teams playing. It was completely by accident that this happened. All the AFC hats will get released tomorrow, probably at noon. Thursday's a weird day on a time of when you're supposed to release. So we're going to release at noon tomorrow, and hope that they kick off a little bit. We picked up a whole bunch of new followers today. So if you're not, make sure you join one of them. Yeah, MJ said that would hit 2,000. And I don't know, Sean had said the same thing earlier to me. He said, you'll wake up tomorrow to be at 2,000. This would be amazing. So here's Sean's handle, Omega911. So if you go out and follow Fantasy Sports Alliance, make sure you go out and follow him as well. And if you don't do anything with it tonight, yeah, actually I'll push that one up in just a second as well. And talk about that. Sean and I can actually both comment on that. If you don't follow either one of us tonight and you think about it tomorrow during breakfast, it might be a much easier to get over to find Sean if you wait until you see tomorrow's post. Foreshadowing. So it'll be the number one post by morning. That'll be nice. Yeah, okay. So, okay, you're seeing the comment, Sean. Good deal. So have you seen the AI design stadium floated around? Yes. In fact, it's crazy that you bring that up. Sean and I were just talking about it tonight. We're talking about how the futuristic helmets and the stadiums are kind of being done right now. And if you're following a lot of the AI art stuff that's around there, they're popping up a lot. So if it's a thing that you follow, you're going to have it on your For You page coming up a whole lot more. And it's kind of like oversaturating right now because of the I think they're calling like the year 3000 helmets and then the stadium things. But it was the original stadium post, we'll call it the original one, that really got me interested in doing all of this stuff. There was a guy that was doing it, and he was popping up on my TikTok. I started picking his brain about how he was doing it, and he was being real secretive about it all. And Sean has his own story of a guy doing the same thing to him. Sean was interested in doing all of this stuff, and he's picking a guy's brain, and the guy's being real secretive about it all. Same thing was happening to me as well. More out of spite, both of us decided that we're going to start doing this thing, and we had to figure it out. And that's kind of, we figured it out on our own. But the stadiums that are being passed around right now, yeah, are very cool. Again, it depends on which one you're looking at. I got one guy in particular that I'm really, really liking his stuff. But my original guy that was doing it, he did it for, I think he did football stadiums, he did baseball stadiums, he did hockey arenas. He did a lot of really, really cool stuff. And he did at one point something to do with rock bands as well. But I don't think he's posted anything since April. He does come in every once in a while and like my stuff, so I do appreciate that he comes in and does that. But that's kind of how Sean and I got started in that. So yeah, if you're not already following, go out there and do that. Start following hashtags of Midjourney or AI art or AI art community and stuff like that, if that's your thing. And you'll start seeing more of that come up on your For You page. That's it. I want to thank Mondo and the boys of the Recast, the official music of FSA, and I definitely have to thank Brandon Valinka of Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel. So that's where, well, let me put it back on. That's where everything came from tonight. Brandon surprised me. I got a package in the mail one day, and all of a sudden, I have this white camouflage hat with Alt Walt on it, and I have this nice T-shirt that he did for me as well. And by the way, this is super comfortable, Brandon. If you're out there watching this now or later, man, this shirt is comfortable. But again, I mentioned it 4 weeks ago, I think, that the apparel stuff is starting to come along. So another thing, so I want to go, before we close up, somebody had said about what are we thinking about doing? What are you thinking about for other efforts? And then maybe even a quarterly broadcast. So other efforts. I think this was probably before you came on board with us. You know that this has been a business for me for quite a few years. I have a trademark on the name in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I just re-upped it for another 10 years. This was an LLC for us for a while as well in the state of Texas, and I've let that lapse. So this was, in fact, a business for us. So one of the first things people always think about when they're thinking about doing a business is, where are my other means of income that I can get other than just, membership fees? Because the majority of our membership fees go right back out in winnings nowadays. Apparel is always the first thing everybody thinks about. So one of the efforts could be for us to get more apparel for you guys to order. That will, help put a little bit more money in FSA's pockets. It definitely helps Brandon out as well, and his company of Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel. And then just getting back on Discord and getting the name back out there. I've been focused so much on the TikTok community because it's been good to me, where I've put all of my efforts into Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for years, and I've only got 500, 550 followers. And I've given serious effort to TikTok since the end of July. So we're literally like 3 months and a week, maybe 3 months and 2 weeks, 3.5 months into this TikTok venture. And as of right now, I'm just shy of 3,400 people, which is like 7 times the number of people I have on any of the other platforms that I've been trying to get at for years. So maybe efforts back to the other social medias. MJ and I talked earlier on the phone today, is using TikTok as the platform to get more people, but I can't grow outside of my means of growth, right? So I'm still, as much as I have effort and ideas and help from certain people, I'm still like a one-person show. So I can only do what I can do. Also, with retirement up and coming, there is the possibility of maybe me actually having to go back to work. In fact, I have an interview on Friday. Keep your fingers crossed for me, everybody. I have an interview. I would not start that job until next June or July, depending on what it is. And that could take a little bit more priority over certain things. So right now we're kind of in a little bit of a what do we do limbo. But I would love to hear your ideas. The quarterly shows aren't bad. I feel like, though, with a quarterly show, the numbers won't be any different. So instead of getting 4 shows at 31 people, we'd get 1 show at 31 people. And I think probably what bothers me the most, as I'm saying this out loud and stream of conscious thinking and speaking here, is we have 72 teams in the redraft, and we have 32 teams in the dynasty. And I realize some of them are the same people, but not all of them are. And again, we're sitting here with 30-ish people viewing the show each week. So I've rambled on enough. Thank you to our sponsors. Pay attention to Discord. If one of the things that we can do is we can bring Discord back to life again, pay attention to Discord, and that will let you know what we're going to do for our broadcast for next week. And then thank you for watching. If you're not already subscribed to us and following us and putting your bell on YouTube so you know we're about to come live, or you're not watching or following us on TikTok, please go out and do all of those things for me. We'll be back next week. Barring anything happening crazy where I would be unable to do the show at this regularly scheduled time and day. We'll be back next week with all of the week 9 highlights. So you have a good night. I'm about to turn my Wi-Fi back on my phone. Go over to Discord. Hit me up over there. You all have a great evening. 45 minutes. Thank you all for sticking around.